This podcast is produced by the Harwood Productions Podcast Network. To learn more about the network and to find more of our shows, visit us online at www.harwoodpodcast.com.
Hi, I'm Cindy Harris. Welcome to Come for Tea.
Well, if you're having a holiday tea, these glazed gingerbread tea cakes are just the thing you're going to want to have on your tea tray. So the first thing we're going to do is get a 9-inch square pan prepared. And I'm going to go ahead and spray that with some baking spray. And then I'm going to put a sleeve in it. And I'm going to take a piece of parchment. I'm going to cut it the width of the pan. And I'm just going to lay it down across the bottom, kind of fold those edges over. And then I'm just going to take a little bit more spray and spray the bottom. This is going to make it really easy to get that cake out of the pan. So over at the mixer, we're going to put in 2 eggs, and we're going to let those kind of break apart a little bit. And then we're going to gradually add a cup of sugar, and we're going to let the sugar and the eggs whisk together for about 4 minutes till they get nice and lemony colored. Then once the eggs are nicely lightened, then we're going to go ahead and add 1/3 cup of oil. And then we're just going to let this mix together for about a minute. Now while that's mixing up in a small bowl, we're going to measure out a cup of applesauce. And to that, we're going to add a teaspoon of baking soda. And we want to take a moment and just mix those ingredients together. That's going to really end up being the main liquid in this cake. Then in another bowl, we're going to mix the dry ingredients. We want 1.5 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of ginger, a teaspoon of ground cloves, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to take our little whisk and we're really going to mix those ingredients up well. Then back over at the mixer, we're going to stop it and we're going to take half of the flour and put that into that egg and sugar mixture and get it going on a slow speed. Then we're going to add half of the applesauce mixture. And then we're going to go ahead and add the rest of the flour and then the rest of the applesauce. Then we're just going to let that run until everything's combined, and then we'll take it off the mixer and do a final mix down with our spatula. Then we just go ahead and pour this batter right into the pan. Then we're going to put this in a preheated 325-degree oven, and it's going to bake for about 30 minutes. Now when it comes out, it's going to look nice and brown and golden like this, but you are going to want to take a toothpick and poke it right in the center of the cake and make sure that it comes out clear. That way you know that it's baked all the way through. Then let this sit on a rack for about 15 minutes. Then what you can do is lift with the sleeves and slide the pan out of the way, and the cake will hold together, and then you can let it cool the rest of the way on the cooling rack. Now let's make our glaze. So over at the mixer with the whisk attachment, I have 4 ounces of cream cheese, and I'm using a light cream cheese. I'm going to kind of beat that up, and then I'm going to stop the mixer and add 1.25 cups of powdered sugar, and I don't bother sifting it. Now I'm going to cream these together, and then you're going to notice at the beginning it looks kind of dry and crumbly like this, but don't worry, it will start to cream up like this in just a matter of seconds. Then we're going to go ahead and add 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla and get your microplaner out, and we're going to take the zest off of an orange, but only half of the orange do we want the zest. This isn't a lot of glaze. I do like the orange flavor, but I don't need a whole orange. So just take the zest off half an orange and go ahead and add that to the mixing bowl. Then I'm going to stop the mixer and give this a little bit of a scrape down. Sometimes the powdered sugar kind of goes along the edges. And then I'm going to let this go ahead and beat up for 4 minutes. Then I'm going to get a fresh piece of parchment down on my counter, and I'm just going to lift with the sleeves the cake, and I'm going to put it on that fresh piece of parchment. When I glaze something, I like to have something to catch any of the glaze that drips off. So you can see it's this really nice, smooth glaze. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to start and we're going to pour that right in the center of the cake. Now the reason I do it this way is because I want to control the way the glaze moves on the top of this cake. I don't want it just all running off. So once I get it in the center, then I take my offset spatula and I very carefully just inch that glaze towards the edges. I don't want to push it over. This glaze has enough viscosity to it and thickness that it won't just spill over right away. It'll actually stop itself for the most part if I don't push it too far. And then that way it gives this nice coating of glaze on top of the cake. So just take your little spatula and move it ever so carefully over to the edges. Now if it starts to spill over a little bit, that's fine, but you want to keep as much of the glaze up on top of the cake as you possibly can. And then just let this sit out for a half an hour, an hour, and let that glaze kind of set up before you cut it into some little squares. Now, a quick reminder, I've been nominated for a Tasty Award honoring the best in food and fashion programming. Now, I've been nominated for Best Home Chef in a Series for the Farmers Market Gourmet, and it's a Viewer's Choice Award. So if you'd like to vote, just go to our website and click on the Tasty Awards icon. It'll take you right to the voting page. Now, voting does end January 5th. Well, these glazed gingerbread tea cakes are just divine, and they're perfect for any holiday tea. The cake is light and moist, and that glaze with that little bit of orange is fabulous.
For more information on this episode, go to our website and visit the Come for Tea show notes. Also, if you have any questions or ideas, send us an email. Thanks for watching. It's time for tea.